brothers and sisters. This is Dr. William Snedlin coming to you from With One Accord Ministries with another teaching on spiritual warfare and how to better protect yourselves and your family. Since we've done several videos on this topic, and also, of course, we have our book, Blood on the Doorpost, we get a lot of questions from people wondering how they can better protect themselves and their family. They might say, oh, well, we did all the stuff that you said in your book. We've like gone through our home and blessed our home and gotten rid of anything that's not set apart, any cursed thing. We have remitted the sin of the shedding of innocent blood over the land. And again, we have other videos that address these topics, but we're still having trouble. We're still getting some incoming fire, so to speak. Let me explain briefly a couple of areas where you might want to follow these instructions to further firm up your defenses, so to speak. One is the fact that we must remember Yahushua tells us that the evil one, Hasatan, is the prince of the power of the air. And he also said in another place that he saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. Now, what do these two things tell us? Well, they tell us, among other things, that things that involve the airwaves or electricity are kind of his territory because of the way the nature of the spiritual realm works. And remember, I used to be on the other side. I used to understand this from the standpoint of the occult. But now we understand that, for example, the evil spirits, who are his minions, the minions of the evil one, can travel through telephone lines, they can travel through cable TV, they can travel through the internet into your computers. Most especially if you have, or other members of your family might be either watching programs on TV that are not set apart, whatever it might be, occult programming, extremely violent programming, filthy pornographic or semi-pornographic programming, anything like that is going to just be an open doorway for just Niagara Falls levels of demons flowing into your home. And people don't understand that. In the same way, if you go and are on the internet and you visit, smutty websites, or even, let's say you have this sort of curiosity about the occult or black magic or things like that, and you go and you visit, just as the most bizarre example, the site of the Church of Satan or the Temple of Set, or even some of these WikiLeaks things, which have, what do you want to call it, like a lot of articles about ancient black magic books and just about anything you want now you can find on the internet. Things that, in fact, were not even available to the general public until literally within the last 5 or 10 years. And this is not good. I would tell you most emphatically, as a minister and a teacher and a former witch, that unless you are yourself a minister and have a set apart reason to be going to these occult sites for the purpose, or visiting, for that matter, Mormon sites or Jehovah's Witness sites or Freemasonry sites or Scientology sites or whatever it might be, even Roman Catholic, don't go on these sites unless you have a set apart reason for being there and you have the anointing from the Ruach as a minister who's trying to study to defend the faith. In other words, if you're just a Christian who, for whatever reason, is curious about this stuff, don't give in to that curiosity. Believe me, you don't want to go on these sites because things in these sites can leap out at you. And that is why we recommend, because, especially if you have young people in your house and you're not, somehow supervising them, you don't know where your computer has been, so to speak. So we advise people to bless their televisions if they have one, and pray over them and anoint them with oil, just as if it was a doorway, because it is. And yes, you can watch set apart programming on your television. There's Christian programming that is sometimes good and sometimes not so good, but I mean it's by and large relatively benign. But you can also watch all manner of violence and filth and perversity. So you need to anoint the portal of your television set on the right, on the left, and on top. Do the same thing with your computer, and if you have a smartphone, with your smartphone. If you have a tablet, do it, whether it's an iPad or one of the other kinds of tablets, Android or whatever, anoint these things with oil and plead the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach over them frequently, unless you're certain that, for example, if you have a smartphone and you know that it hasn't been used by anybody else to access wickedness, then you're probably okay for a while. But, if that's not the case, or if it's your family computer or tablet or whatever, you might need to anoint that thing every few days, because these are doorways through which the evil one can send his minions. Just as sure as if you open up the door in the summer of your house, the flies are going to get in. And they're going to land on your food. And in the same way, if you don't pray over these things and anoint them and plead the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach over them, and Yah willing, by the time this video is published out on YouTube, we're going to have a sample prayer for how to do this on our website at withoneaccord.org. But just for now, understand these things. These are areas where you can have open doorways, just as surely as if you haven't anointed your doorposts and your gates and put up a mezuzah. In fact, I have one person emailed me a few months ago and said they actually stuck a mezuzah on the monitor of their computer, which is kind of original, but if you can do it, do it. One other thing I will mention that's in a different genre, but it's also can be a dark portal, and that is the idea of the mirror. People may know that there's a lot of superstition around mirrors. There's the whole thing that, if you crack a mirror, break a mirror, it's 7 years bad luck and all of that. Well, that's pretty much nonsense. But on the other hand, mirrors are used by occultists, by witches, by magicians, and by Satanists as portals, as ways to see the future, but also as ways to travel from one place to another. Here's what we advise. I would say keep the mirrors in your home to a minimum. I mean, I know we all need a couple of mirrors here and there, and that's fine. And sometimes homes come with them, like in a bathroom, they're actually bolted to the wall. But what I would advise everybody to do, if you're concerned about demonic infestation of people, being attacked by the demonic, even though you've done everything else, anoint the mirror with oil and pray over it again, just as if it was a doorway, and bind the evil ones from coming through these portals, and keep track. If you have 2 bathrooms in your home and you have the 2 mirrors, then pray over them. If you have a hand mirror, which, a lot of people do, pray over that. It's not a big deal, but you need to do it, because otherwise, if you're really out there working for the kingdom, the devil is going to try and come at you and your children any way they can. So pray over your computers and your tablets, pray over your smartphones, anoint them all with oil, pray over your TV, especially if it's one of these big, flat panel TVs. It basically looks like a giant mirror. Isn't that interesting? Anoint that and pray over it. And at the same time, do the same thing as I mentioned with all the mirrors in your house. That will keep your home a lot safer from demonic invasion, especially during darker seasons of the year, like the various satanic holidays we speak about. Okay, thank you for listening to this brief video. That's really all I have for you today. I pray it is a help to you in fortifying your home and your family against the attacks of the occult. If you find this helpful, please subscribe and share, and please pray about supporting our ministry with your love offerings. Thank you, and may you be richly blessed. Shalom, shalom.